Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be putting on the V-Plow to the front of the Super Duty. As you can see, snow has come unexpectedly, rather quickly. So we're going to do a quick video on how to get the plow on and off. When I bought this truck, the previous owner put it on and it was in May, and I didn't have to put it on until the winter and had to scratch my head a little bit about how to get it back on. So this is a 9-foot 2-inch Power V XT plow. You can see the model number there. This is actually a metal mold board from Boss. It's a Boss V plow. This has been on the truck, I think, a couple times, or been on this truck and some other trucks. But you can see the components are basically, plow's all self-contained, pump, electrical connections. All you do is you tie into your truck here. And there you can see that hook with the eye. And you have control and you have a power connection here. And what basically happens is you line your truck up with these pins. Line up, and I'm not going to stick my finger in there, and I'll tell you why in a second. Line up with these slots on either side, and then a bolt, which you can see the end of it here, is thrown through the eye and then also through the mounting flange on this side. So you can see here that I have settings here in the off position. This was when I took it off, and when we get to put it on, I'll tell you all about that. So, but you got to be careful because that's under spring tension. So the first thing we're going to do is, you notice I have the plow in the V. Okay, take a look around the front. It's in the V position, the inward V, I guess you'd call it, as opposed to a scoop. And you can see what that does. By having it in the V, the entire light bar and everything, as well as the mount, is up high. If you park the plow in the springtime, let's say, you don't have it in the V and you have it more flat, like a traditional plow or even in the scoop, it's going to drop this bar down, and you're going to have a heck of a time getting that pin to line up with that because it's going to be too low. And you're going to have to pry up on this bar and wedge something underneath or jack it up. Ask me how I know. So, and then the other thing you need for this is obviously your control. This is what this control looks like. It has a multi-pin connector that will plug it under the dash, and there's the controls there. So we're not going to plug that in just yet because I don't want to risk the chance of anything going wrong with the controls and while I'm standing here. Now, another thing about being in the V position, always be aware, this is hydraulic, very strong hydraulics. So always be aware where you're at when you're moving the plow. Obviously, this is as back as far as it can go, so I still have a little bit of room. If you had a smaller plow, it might not be as big a deal. If you had a straight blade plow, it would be out this way, so you would have more space. But I'm always careful of where I'm standing. So the first thing we're going to do is hook up the power and the control connections. Well, the first thing we did was actually line the truck up, and you saw a little bit of that. And that gets a little tricky, but you can eventually get there. One thing I might do, I could think of, is, put either maybe an antenna, an old CB antenna here to show you where the center is. And the truck here has a center groove down the hood, so that would help me line up, or have somebody spot you. You'll get the hang of it, but it's a little tricky. So the first thing we're going to do before I actually get everything connected is I'm going to pull the truck forward a little bit more to engage. Basically, let's get down here and show you. There's another look of it. So these pins that would come out go through that hole. The pin that's here goes through that hole, and then this pin sits in the bottom. And when we're at the point of raising the lights, this whole piece will tilt backwards, and that pin will sit there, and this pin will throw and sit there. Same thing on the other side, and you'll be all set. Now this looks like some sort of either universal mount or universal mount for the Super Duty based on lift. This has I'm running a bigger tire on this truck, and also running a 2-inch leveling kit or 2.5-inch leveling kit, I forget which, in the front. So it's probably compensated for that. So the first thing we're going to do is start the truck up, bring it forward, shut everything off, hook up our connections, then plug in our controls, and then go from there. So let's just have to go forward a little bit. Now, I had this running, so it's why I didn't wait for the glow plugs to fully light up. I just had this running, so we're just going to go forward. I'm going to bump it, make sure my wheel's straight. See, I'm going to bump into it. Park. Let's see how we did. All right. I'm going to shut this off so you can hear me. The truck's a little loud. Truck's a little loud, so let's shut that off. But if you didn't hear what I said, see now my pins are back there where they should be. You don't want to go too crazy because you'll actually push this plow forward, and if you have somebody in front of you, obviously be careful. I wouldn't have anybody stand there just in case something jerks, or here for that matter. But you can see now how, like I said, that lower pin is ready to engage the bottom hook, and this pin is ready to engage that hole when this whole bar comes up. So what we're going to do now, let me get you situated here for a second while I need both hands. And what we're going to do now is, actually let's do this, is hook up my power. So I have a power connection on the truck. This has grease on it, like dielectric grease. This I usually shove underneath in the bumper and tie wrap it off so it's not hanging in the breeze all summer. And then this has a corresponding plug with weather cover on it. So you can only go one way with this. Sorry for the shakiness. Sort of need both hands here. As you can see, you can only go one way. See, that fits in there like that. So that gives your power to the to everything you need here. And then this is my control cable side. Now I don't have the controller plugged in yet because, like I said, there's that side there, and there's this side here. And these are keyed. They can only go one way. See how this has a double slot in the top and there's a single by my thumb? Only go one way. So we're going to get these. These are a little tricky. I'm going to put you down here for a second. Put you in a good spot so you can still see what I'm doing. There we go. Hopefully. Touch it down a little bit so we don't fall. And I'm just going to line these up so you can see. I'm going to line up the slots in this one. The slots here. Put them together. It's a tight fit. And for now, I'm just going to push these off to the side. Okay. Next thing we're going to do. So now our controls and our power cables are hooked up to the plow from the truck. Next thing I'm going to do is over here on this side, doesn't make a difference which one you do first, is I'm going to throw this from where it says off to on. So it tells me off, on. So I'm going to throw it this way. Keep your fingers out of the way. See how it sort of engages. It's moved real quick. Now, at this point, you got to be very careful. When the plow light bar lifts up, this little spring mechanism here gets pushed down, which throws that pin out. You don't want your finger anywhere near there or anything else. So now I'm armed, if you will. That's ready to throw in there, and you'll see it when I move it. Same thing here, going to throw to the on position. Now they're armed, same thing. That little spring, when this tilts up, is going to push down, which is going to throw that pin right in. You don't want your fingers there. I'm going to move these out of the way as best I can so they don't get pinched. And then the one thing you'll notice is you might think, oh, I can go ahead and lift this up. But you notice the switch on the side here to lift the light bar, the coupler as they call it, is dead. And the reason that is because you need your controller in, and you need your controller in float mode. So your controller plugs in the truck, and then float mode allows the plow, as the name implies, to float. So when you're in float mode, the plow is down, and it allows it to ride as the terrain, if you will, changes that you're driving over. This way you're not hard digging in or anything like that. My tractor has the same thing. It's a little different as far as how you engage it because it has a lever, but this has it, and I'll show you how to do that. This threw me a little bit when I first had to do it. So we're going to come back in the truck and take the keys out. And now see, my connector's right here under the dash, and I stick it up under the dash in the off season, and it only goes one way. You can see there's sort of like little points, little triangles at the top. And if I look here, those are actually facing down. So you just line those up and put these. Now, before I do that, actually, make sure your controller's in the off position. This one has a switch on top. And this one slid to the left, which is off. Just in case, just more safety. This way, if something was miswired or something weird is going on, your plow doesn't suddenly jump. And hold that in there. And we'll make that connection. And then we're going to turn this on. You can see, I'll try to show you again. We're going to turn this on. Okay, so now the controller is on. Now, I can still go out here, and I'm going to put it outside the window so we don't have to keep opening and closing the door. Just make sure you don't shut it in the door. This way it makes it a little easier. I'm still green, so I'm connected on the controller, but you see, I'm still not able to lift this up and down. Now, what should happen here is the light bar should come up, and because I've armed those two bolts, they're going to come throwing out as soon as this comes up, and you'll hear it. But because I'm not in float mode, I can't do that. In order to get in float mode, this is another safety they must put in, you push and hold your controller down. So watch that light is green, push and hold. Now it's red. That means you're in float mode. Now, normally when plowing, you'd want that, but it also comes into play when you're actually hooking up the plow. Now, I'm going to stand as far away as I can because this thing comes right up here, so I don't want to put my body in between the bar and the light and the truck. I don't want to do that at all. It's not safe, obviously. So you see on the back here, on the side here, excuse me, throw up the toggle. It's going to raise the coupler and the light bar because the coupler they're calling is what's down there, and then the other way when we want to take it off. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to reach in, but notice my body is away from it. I'm going to reach in, my face is away. All right, so you can see why it's important that I didn't put myself next to the light here, because as this came up, if I'm between here and the truck, I could get pinched. So I don't want to be in here because you can see the proximity to, okay, there's the switch. Here's the light bar here. So you want to be careful you don't get yourself pinched there. A lot of force coming up to lock those pins because it just lifted everything up. So you'll hear it lock in and slam in. So I'm going to come down here and show you now. Now we're engaged. So you can see here, use the flashlight. Incidentally, if you need a flashlight that's really good, I'll have a link in the description. Pretty good flashlight here, USB rechargeable, dimming. It's an Astrolight. This pin, you can see the outside of the pin here, use the flash as a pointer, shot right through. So if you pretend where my light is, laying on top, it's shot right through. Same thing as the other side. If you look at the other side, you can see the other side of the pin, right where the tip of my flashlight is. Wherever that is. Okay, a little out of focus. Let's focus that up there. You can see it there? Right where the tip of my flashlight is, right above that. That's the pin that comes through that side. There's a corresponding one over here. We're engaged at the bottom. We're engaged up here. Everything's happy. Now, if I was actually going to start plowing, what I would do is tuck these up out of the way. Because see how they're sort of hanging in the breeze? I don't like that. Snow could kick up, something could hit it. I would grab them, get a bungee cord or something and tie them up safely out of the way. I would stay away from anything here, stay away from here. I might even bring them up here to the tow hook, just bring them out of the way. I would strain relief them so their weight wasn't on the connector, so you're not plowing and you lose power, you lose your control. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's all together. We're up, we're ready to plow. So I'm going to take my controller to show you here. It'll be a little tricky, but there we go. Sun sort of, the snow sort of hurting us here. So I'm going to go up. Okay, I'm up all the way. And then the way this works, left, right, outer corner. I'll show you on this side. See the wing comes up all the way, goes back, come up all the way, comes back. Now, the other side works exactly the same. And if I want to go down, I hold it down and then push and hold, and it will go into float mode. You can see the snow. Sorry for the snow glare there, but so you can see that that's pretty violent, for lack of a better term. Goes up pretty fast, comes down pretty fast, moves pretty jerky. You don't want to be anywhere near there when the plow's going on. If you don't want to have anybody standing, let's say you're salting and sanding and someone's plowing, I wouldn't be anywhere near the plow. So that's it. Now what I like to do is once I get it up in the air, before I start driving, we'll put it up again. Once again, see the front squats a little bit, depending on your truck, depends. I just give a look, make sure everything looks all right. And keep my foot clear so I don't end up with the blade on me. Just make sure nothing's weird. And I've also done it where I drive a little bit, like up the driveway, and then make sure everything's okay. And then what you'd want to do, obviously, is check your lights, make sure they're working. So I know I actually have a bulb out on this side and that side, but my lights are working there. And the way on my truck, you have a switch right here on the dash that says truck and plow. That swings the lights between the plow lights and the truck lights, the headlights. But I gotta, like I said, I don't plow commercially or anything like that. This is pretty much a driveway plow, and so I don't really. And if I plow a handful of times a year, it's a lot. So I'm not out on the road or anything like that. But I do need to address these lights, and I also need to address these are tipped down a little bit, as you can see. It's a little bit challenging. Sometimes you're shooting right into the ground. But the reason you have lights up here is because obviously, potentially when this is up in the wing position, your headlights are blocked. So, and that's how to put your Boss Power VXT on your truck. This is a Ford Super Duty, a 2007. I'm going to assume a lot of the Boss products at least are very similar, and probably most plows for that matter. The mounting I know is a little different, but the overall basic idea is you're attaching it to the truck. We're going to put in another video on how to take the plow off. Be sure to check our other videos for that. If you like this type of video, please be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and leave a comment below. And be sure to click the bell to be notified when we put out new videos. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and happy plowing.